I look at meetings now, and I totally, I'm with you, and I'm positive, there's a couple 100 million other people that can agree and attest that, wait, you want me to tell a room full of people bad things about me? Well, that does not in any way, shape, or form jive with my prideful nature. Like, this is not okay. But here's how, this is what I've learned, at least for Mike, True strength comes in the form of vulnerability. Think about that for a minute, because it wasn't very apparent to me until, when I was out speaking. And, I have a room full of 3,500 people. Now, before I got to that point, I was terrified of being in public places. My PTS was through the roof. I would have panic attacks all the time. You would never be able to see that because I was very stone. I was stone-faced. That was it. I put on my angry face. But if you hooked up, a heart rate monitor to me and put it on a big screen, you're looking at like 185 BPM, and I feel like I can't breathe, and all these things are happening, and I'm terrified. I'm terrified to speak. What if I speak wrong? Because I am more worried about how I look than how I function. I'm a show. I'm a lie. But this is what I've learned about meetings. Meetings are cognition dojos. Now follow me here. When you go to a dojo, you got your neat little gi on, or whatever, bathrobe. It depends where you go. And I'm wearing a white belt. And as a white belt, I'm getting my ass kicked by everybody in that room. But are they really kicking my ass? No, they're teaching me. They're giving me tools. I'm learning. I'm getting feedback. I'm taking feedback. I'm sore, a couple of times, and I'm messing up quite a bit. But what I'm also doing is I'm learning. One of the good things that happens with dopamine is I'm learning. I'm learning how to face myself. I'm learning how to be in my skin. And I'm surrounded by people that know exactly what it's like to be me. They're not concerned anymore about what they show. They're concerned about how they are. And that's where we're getting into the behaviors, That cognition dojo, or those cognition dojos, have taught me everything. When people share their vulnerability, they're not vulnerable anymore. See, for me, I was truly vulnerable when I was so concerned about what you thought of me. That's where my vulnerability was. That was where my compromise was. And I did compromise. I compromised an awful lot. I got to go with the flow, don't make waves, I just got to be one of them, or I got to put on a show like I am one of them. And now I'm railing against my own morality, and again, I'm not blaming anyone else, I blame me totally. But now there I was, this was 2017, I believe. My good friend Don Acker invited me to go out and speak, and he negated to tell me that I was going to speak to 3,500 people, and it was really funny. So I get out there in Groton, Connecticut, and I'm like, is there a podium? Is there a podium? Is there a podium? Like, I need to fig leaf myself. I may want to scratch my butt or something. The microphone died at the podium. But the amphitheater was set up in such a manner that if you stand directly in the center of that stage, the acoustics in that room, people will hear you. And I was given a golden moment, and I was free. So something really interesting happened. So for 90 minutes, people heard Unfiltered Mike, which was really funny, because I'm a clown, like I am. I don't take too many things seriously. But at the end of it, people came up and they couldn't believe it. They were like, I've never seen anybody be that vulnerable before. And I was like, oh, I see it all the time. But am I? Because I'm here for one reason and one reason only, to reach one person that knows what it's like to be me. And that's how I got to this stage. That's how I got here. And that's what this is about. See, we know what it's like to exist in hell, and that hell is between the ears. At least my hell was between my ears, and that's where I existed. And to escape that hell, I would drink, I would do all kinds of things. I would lie, I would win, I would, and what did it crescendo into? It crescendoed into me in rehab. After one failed suicide attempt and a litany of other horrible things. And then I meet, my savior, the amazing Tracy, and she saved my life. She wasn't even talking to me. She showed me how to adult. It was all for a purpose. So if I could replicate that moment that she gave me, that was my mission. And that is our mission. As people in recovery, we just want people to know a couple of things. One, there are no unicorns. I'm not a unicorn. You're not a unicorn, because unicorns aren't freaking real. But them not being real and the belief that they're real is what makes them dangerous. We have a saying, terminal uniqueness. Like, nobody knows what it's like to be me. Oh, really? Nobody knows what it's like to be a combat crazy, hooked on booze and just dreaming of going back to war because that's the only place you feel normal. And give me a break, man. That's in a museum right now being viewed by kids holding balloons. Like, that's an old story, but not in my mind, not in my prideful state of being. So no, it was from the cognition dojos, and they were not just in those rooms. They were in the healer's office. That's what I call the psychologists. They're the healers, and they're just freaking right hooking me in the rib cage. Truth, truth, truth. No more defense mechanisms. I'm like, And what was great about crying? It was freeing. I was so worried, like, I'm not a man anymore. I'm not a warrior anymore, because I'm crying and I can't talk about my feelings, because if I do that, then I'll seek to exist. And if I tell the truth, and then I'll catch fire and die. And that never happened, not once. I became free. That's what I got. And that's what I continue to get. And that's why I'm really grateful for the vulnerability and the amazing people I've met in this program, like the man I'm talking to right now on this podcast. This is an amazing lease on life. And the application is so far beyond not drinking. It's interaction. It's action and interaction. It's, holding my tongue. I don't have to, I hear amazing pearls of wisdom like, I do not have to participate in every argument I'm invited to. I heard that in a meeting, and I'm like, that is so brilliant. But I don't hear things like that unless I'm in these places with people sharing their pain and sharing their recovery. That's the other piece, is not just the bad, but the good that came from the bad. I don't know if I might have fallen off, my cheese might have slid off the cracker on this point, but man, I am a very grateful man today because of that. I'm actually I'm working on adulting. I think my EQ got me somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 now. And not bad for a 41-year-old child, but there I am.